Are you a runner struggling with Achilles pain that's unpredictable and derails your training plans? Achilles flare-ups can leave us sidelined, frustrated, and questioning our ability to keep running. If you're tired of constantly pausing your training because of these setbacks, that's preventing you from doing things like running a 5K, a marathon, or a triathlon, then this video is for you. Hi everyone, my name is Grady Collington. I'm the founder of Pain-Free Achilles, and I'm passionate about running and helping runners overcome chronic and nagging Achilles pain injuries. I've been an athletic trainer and Achilles expert for 11 years now, and I've recently come online to share my knowledge and experience with you athletes discovering that so many people deal with Achilles pain. With the right approach, you can take back control of your Achilles pain so that you can run consistently. Gaining control is the bedrock of any Achilles rehab plan. But here's the problem where many people find themselves in. They get flare-ups so often, they are actually healed. They're stuck in this vicious cycle where they can't get out of pain, and it only breeds more frustration. I'm going to show you what that looks like and how you can get out of that vicious cycle. First, I'm going to show you why it's so important to think about Achilles pain not being inflammation. So let's start with that. Alright, so that's the first thing I want you to remember, is that Achilles pain does not equal inflammation. And why is that important? Because when you think of things as inflammation, then what's going to happen is you're going to treat it like inflammation. You think inflammation is bad. And in many cases, inflammation can actually be a good thing. But in the case of Achilles, it's not relevant. In most cases, the tendinopathy is not caused by inflammation. It's a breakdown in tendon tissue that irritates the nerves and makes everything super sensitive. And that if you build strength in that Achilles, that's the path that you want to take rather than the rest I instruct you. And let me show you why that is. So if I make a chart here, okay, you have the pain side on a scale to 0 to 10, and you have the time. This could be 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks, okay? And you have this chart here, and let's say you've been dealing with Achilles pain for a little while, and you just ran a marathon, so you start with the pain here, and you decide, I'm going to take a month off, right? And I hear this so often from other runners. You take a month off, see how it goes, let's calm it down, and then we'll try running again. Okay, cool. Let's see what happens if you do that. You take a month off, pain goes down. Great. You say you took a month off there, and you're thinking, oh, I want to run a marathon by week 16. Let's get back into training. And you didn't really do anything during that time off. So as a result, at first you might feel okay running, but over time the pain's gonna creep back up, and then when you hit that marathon, that's where the pain comes right back. And you're wondering, gee, why? I've tried everything and nothing seems to work. Even when you go to PT during that time, it doesn't seem to work, right? Why is that? Well, it comes down to the vicious cycle of pain. So you have pain, the natural inclination, the natural thing to do is to rest, and then you decide to run, you go back to pain, you rest again, you run again, pain. And this does not strengthen your Achilles at all. Right? You're just going through that cycle, and I hate to see anybody in this cycle. And that's why I do what I do, is try to educate people, help them get out of that cycle, kind of like being in a tornado. We need to figure out how to get you out of the tornado so you're safe and you're able to see the blue sky and see what's possible for your Achilles. And let me show you what that looks like. So if I go down and make a new chart, okay? So let's say 4, 8, 12, 16 weeks, and pain is 0 up down here and 10 up here. And I say you started out the same way that the other guy did, right here. You just finished marathon, and you're tempted to rest for a month. But I say, don't rest. Focus on exercise and listening to your body, using the traffic light system, which I'll talk about in a minute. Using the traffic light system, you can keep running and still have the pain go down. So let me show you what that looks like. So if you're here and you might rest for a week or so, or 2 weeks, standard procedure after a marathon, pain starts to go down a little bit, okay, and I have you start exercise, right? And what's going to happen is, with exercise, right here, and then one with traffic light system, right? What's going to happen is over time, you're going to have little spikes of pain, but generally, the pain is going to go all the way down. And it could be faster than 16 weeks. Many of my clients get pain relief as little as 4 weeks. Okay, but that's just kind of a standard look at this. And the reason is you're actually strengthening your Achilles through exercise. And you're continuing to maintain a health and fitness and the joy of running. That helps with the exercise. That helps tell your brain that, like, hey, everything's okay. Everything will be alright. And it's inversely correlated. So if you have pain, and your strength is probably going to be down here. If you can reverse those lines, if you have strength, your strength will go up and your pain will go down. And that is the magic of a good tailored plan that fits your specific needs. By the way, if you like my channel and you like this video so far, make sure you subscribe or hit the like button. And feel free to share with anybody you know who has Achilles pain. I would hate for them to see them suffer through pain for months or even years. If you'd like to get out of this pain cycle and avoid surgery, avoid long hours of physical therapy and medication and injections, all these different things that we can do for the Achilles that actually end up not working really well, here are 3 tips that will greatly benefit your Achilles if you just simply incorporate them into your daily practice, and can make a big difference for your Achilles. Tip 1. You have to listen to your body. Have you ever pushed through a run and felt a twinge in your Achilles and later regretted it? And that happens, and we're all runners. We all want to push our bodies to the limit, and sometimes the limit is painful. But the reality is, listening to your body can go a long way to helping your Achilles pain. I'm going to show you why. And this is called the traffic light system. The traffic light system is actually quite simple. You imagine you're stuck in the intersection, you're late for a doctor's appointment, you're anxious, and you're honking people, get out of the way, hoping the light turns red. You know what I'm talking about, right? But you can use the traffic light analogy in running and managing Achilles pain. So it's a red light and a yellow light and a green light system. Okay, so I'm going to draw those colors here in the traffic light, and I'm going to make a little box so that you can visualize the traffic light system here. Alright, so each light corresponds to a level of pain that you're experiencing. So if a red light is 7 plus pain, so 7 to 10. Yellow is 4 to 6. And then green 0 to 3. Okay? And you can use the traffic light system anytime. And I actually encourage you, when you use the system, grab a journal, grab a notebook, or your notepad and your phone, and keep track of your pain. And that way you kind of see where you fall on the spectrum, and you can reference to, say, yesterday. Maybe you forgot what level of pain you were yesterday, and that way you can look it up for easy reference. How to use the traffic light system? As I mentioned before, rest is harmful for your Achilles tendon because it reduces the strength in the tendon. And so when you apply the same amount of capacity, load or stress and strain on the Achilles, then you're going to get greater pain because it can't handle that load because the strength has gone way down. So that's why we need to maintain consistent rehab and running progress to make sure that your Achilles tendon can withstand the load and strain that you put on it. Okay, so let's say you are that runner who was at 4 or 5 pain earlier. You're right here in the yellow zone, and that should inform you what you should do the next day. So the way I like to do this is, you say you finish a run, okay? Your pain's a 4 right now, and you're going to monitor your pain at the end of the run or activity, okay? So let's say you're in 4 pain at the end, and then you're going to check again in about 2 hours, okay? And let's say after 2 hours it's at 3 pain, and then you're going to monitor again at 24 hours, and let's say it goes down to 2. And that should inform you, even though you were at 4 yesterday and you're 2 now, you move from yellow to green, that should inform you that you should be okay to run or do cross training or do any activity that you love to do. So let's say that day you go for a run, let's say you keep it light and easy because you know you're at 2 pain, you're pretty close to 4, you don't want to aggravate that pain too much so you're not going to kill your body today, right? So what you do is, the same thing. When you are finished with that one, let's say the pain goes up to a 3 after the one, and then it goes down to 2 hours after, and then it stays at a 2 24 hours. Then you're in a good spot, right? You're maintaining that strength. Let's take a look at another scenario here. What happens is if you are at a 4 pain at the start of the run, and then you finish the run, and all of a sudden your pain is 7. And I hear there's a lot from people who have had pain spiking really dramatically at the end of the run compared to the beginning of the run. And that usually, by the way, is a sign of that your Achilles needs strength, okay? So, 7 pain, 2 hours later, it goes down to a 6, and 24 hours, it goes down to a 4, okay? Now, because you are in a red zone, at any point, if you are in a red zone, the next day should be a modified day. You should not try to do the same exercise, same intensity, duration, or try to increase anything. You should modify it. You should modify it to a easy one, okay, a short one, or cross training. So it could be bike, swim, okay? So that's another scenario that you should be doing. Again, if you go from 7 to a 2, then you should still do the modification the next day, just to make sure that we don't aggravate the Achilles, but allow you to do the exercises that you've been prescribed to do. That would go a long way to eventually getting that pain down. So it's a process, and this system just simply informs you of what you should be doing the next day. So let's go over one more scenario. Let's say at the end of one, you're 2 hours, you start feeling the increase in pain in 4, and then the next day, pain goes up to 6. And in that scenario, that should inform you that you might have done a little too much during the activity itself. It also could be that you didn't sleep well, maybe you didn't fuel properly, maybe you didn't hydrate well. There's so many different factors, but most likely has to do with the intensity, duration of the workout that you did the day before. In this scenario, you're going to go into that yellow zone activity plan, which is, maybe skip the one because that seemed to aggravate it the day before. Do a cross training activity and do your Achilles exercises. Okay? If you have any questions about the traffic light system, comment below. I read every comment. I'll answer them for you. Now let's move on to the second tip. The second tip is that you should strengthen the lower kinetic chain. Your lower kinetic chain is all the muscle, the bones, and the structures from your hips to your big toe. And the reason why you want to strengthen your Achilles pain is there could be different muscles that could actually be the problem contributing to Achilles pain. So for example, one of the classic ones I see of runners who have a weak gluteus medius muscle. And if you put your hand in your pocket, where the forearm is and where the hand is, that's roughly where your glute med is. These two muscles are really important for maintaining pelvic stability. And you need that pelvic stability to maintain a neutral alignment when you run. If the gluteus medius loses its strength or becomes underactive, what could happen to the pelvis is that it could drop. And that has downstream effects down to your Achilles. And what can end up actually happening is the calves have to work harder, your Achilles have to take on more load, and your foot also has to take on more load, and it takes more energy to push off. This changes the biomechanics of the body simply by having one underactive muscle in the hip. Instead of trying to spend hours doing assessments, running gaits, running form analyses that cost money and time, I like to tell people to do a blanket kinetic chain strengthening. And that's the exercises that I prescribe to my clients. It goes from big toe mobility and strength, your foot mobility and strength, ankle mobility, Achilles loading exercises, calf strengthening, hamstring flexibility and mobility, gluteus medius and maximus, your core, anything that has to do with running. We incorporate it into our rehab plan. And that's really important for runners to have a well-functioning kinetic chain. Because when you run, it's not just your feet or ankle or a calf doing the work. It's your entire body. So these exercises could be a part of your rehab program, or it could be something as simple as step-ups, single leg deadlifts, and weighted calf raises. If you wanted a bare bones, really simple program, those three exercises could make up a program. The key is to progressively increase the intensity and difficulty over time. And that's what's going to make the difference in your Achilles recovery. So we've gone over the traffic light system, listening to your body, and then the kinetic chain strengthening. The last tip I'm going to share with you is take it slow. Studies show that Achilles tendonitis and tendinopathy recovery takes about 12 weeks on average. So it takes time. And one of the reasons why people struggle with Achilles tendonitis is because they give up treatment too early. There's a threshold where symptoms start to disappear. And there's also a threshold where you can get to the point where you have the strength and the kinetic chain ability to be able to keep pain away for good. And that threshold doesn't get hit until about 12 weeks. So it's really important to take it slow, stay committed to the process. It's not easy, and that's why having someone who can help guide you through that process, because how else would you know when to increase your weight, when to change your exercise, whether an exercise is even appropriate for your situation. So like, I wouldn't give you a single leg step up exercise if you don't have any hip issues. Maybe it is a foot mobility or calf strength issue, then we need to tailor those exercises based on what you have or what your root cause is going to be. And that is the difference maker. If you're struggling with Achilles pain, don't do this alone. Reach out, leave a comment, or click on the link to get your Achilles strategy call. This call is real simple. We're going to go over what you've been going through with the Achilles, where you've been, what we can do, what's the root cause of your pain, and what we can do to help it and make a plan so that you can get past Achilles pain. I've helped hundreds of runners overcome this, and you can too. I have faith in you, and there's hope. Click on the link below and schedule your Achilles strategy call today. That's it for today. If you have any topic ideas for next time, just leave a comment. I read them all. I want to hear from you. I want to understand where you're coming from so I can help you the best I can. My name is Grady Collington, and thank you for watching Pain Free Achilles today.